So today I'm going to be installing some cabinet doors. I'm going to show you the process from putting the hinges in to hanging them up on the wall and how I do it to keep them all in line.
So you shake your style down on the ground.
So stay tuned to see how I do it and maybe you'll get some ideas. So the first thing to note are the types of hinges. These are Blum compact 1/2 inch reveal hinges. They take a standard 35mm hole. As far as location of where to drill your holes, it's really up to you as far as where on the style you're going to do it. This is your rail style. So typically at the top of the style is approximately where you'd want to do it. And then the location of the hole for a 1/2 inch overhang traditional 35mm hole is going to be 7/8 in or 22.5 millimeters. 22.5 millimeters is just a smidge past 7/8, but I find 7/8 to be good. So you can see the center of it is right there, pretty much exactly 7/8. And you can get a cheap little template if you don't have, say a drill press that's set up with this offset already. And you can do it by hand. Just make sure that when you're drilling, you're going straight down. Also, the depth of the hole is 1/2 inch or 13.5 millimeters. These would go like that on the face frame. So if you don't have a face frame, then you're going to use a different style. This is a 1/2 inch overlay hinge, and it utilizes the same 35mm hole, but this mounts to the carcass of the cabinet and not to the face frame. These just pop in here like so, and then you've got to make sure that they're not twisted when you put them in. So I use a little gauge here to make sure that they're even on both sides, and then as soon as I know they're even, then I use a very handy self-centering bit, you can see here, to drill the hole. Okay, so how this bit works, as it spins it goes in, but this little piece on the outside keeps it centered. And then I would recommend using a drill to screw in the screws, because if you use an impact, you might not know when you bottom out. And using a screwdriver is even safer. So you just don't want to use an impact or something with high speed and just shoot the screws down, because they will just tear right through it. You need to be even more careful if your face frame is made out of MDF. So I take a straight piece of wood, this is a piece of poplar, and I just clamp it to the frame. A pencil is a little bit wider than 1/2 inch. If you don't like the pencil idea and you want it to be more exact, well, go ahead and just find any little piece of chunk, but you can just lay that down and get it flush with the base of the floor, and then clamp your board to the face frame like so. But also what I like to do is if I have multiple cabinets in a row, I'll do this side, and then I'll jump and do the next side, and then all I have to do is just put my board between the two, and so I don't even have to worry about whatever it is, because I'm just keeping it in line with the base of the other doors. So even if that one and this one are a little bit off, it's all going to look perfectly in line and straight with each other. Okay, so the purpose of the board is obviously to rest it at the proper height. So when we put this up here, it's sitting down on the board, and then the back of these hinges have these little arms that grab. You can see that. So those grab onto the face frame. So I put them up here, lock them in, and at this point I can actually let go. Now you don't want to, but those little arms will hold on to the face frame. I grab my awl and I punch a hole into the very center, and the little hole that the awl makes then is perfect for drilling through. so that the bit of the drill does not wander. All right, so that's a little hole. And again, you want to be careful with screwing in here. Now these screws are a little bit more coarse, so they won't strip as easily, but still. So again, when you're doing this, just make sure that the door is sitting down on your board. And of course, you can adjust it if you need to. So then once you have them screwed in, then just remove the clamp, and then you can see how well they align. So we can see we've got a pretty large gap here in the middle, and we're not perfectly aligned down here. So right here, by tightening this screw, we're gonna push the doors closer together. So we're gonna try to do that on the top and the bottom. All right, so what I wound up doing was pushing these out to the max right here. So when you screw those in, it makes the door tilt this way, and when you loosen it, the door tilts that way. So that's what this front screw does. The middle screw lets you set the door height, and then the back screw sets the gap between the door itself and the frame. Almost 3/16 set from the face of the frame. So once you have stoppers on here, for when it impacts, you can set this depth to be the same so that they're nice and flat. But the main screws you're going to use for adjustment are going to be this front screw and this middle screw. And most hinges have those 3 screws for adjustment because you need to be able to adjust it in all 3 dimensions. Anyways, what I wound up doing was unscrewing both of these screws that actually hold it up or down, and I dropped this door down just a fraction, maybe a 30-second. And over here, I lifted this door up just a 30-second and split the difference between them because they were not meeting even with those adjustments. Now they're in line, and the reveal is the same as with the other doors. But now at this point, this one is up just a hair, and this one is down a little bit, which on this side you can see it is down just a teeny bit. But it's more important that these two are perfect than the gaps between the other doors. The eyes cannot tell that gap like they can tell a gap here. Oh, the other thing is with small doors like these are 11 by 18. And so with small doors like this, you're gonna want to turn off the soft close feature. And so this little nub right here, you click it down or up depending. Like over here, it's going to be up. Yep. So it just goes to the 0 mark, and that turns it off. And then close it one time to activate that. So now that's been deactivated. So now the next time you close it, it will only have one auto or one soft close functioning. So with small doors, if you have both of these soft close features working, then sometimes when you go to close the door, it won't close because there's not enough weight to activate. So with only one working, that's not an issue. On bigger doors, you don't have to worry about that. You can do the same thing with bigger doors, but bigger doors typically have enough weight that both of them will still function fine. I'm just going to move on and do this one now, but it's all the same. I'm just clamping a board at the height I want, keeping it equal, and I come back and do this one in between and get it in line with these two next to it. There you have it. All the doors are up, and if we get into a line with the door, you can see they're all pretty much in line with each other. Some of the doors had to be adjusted up or down a little bit, but the naked eye is not able to see a difference when it's just looking up like this. And actually, most of that waviness and lines is just because the doors are touching and then lift it up. So once we get stoppers here, then it'll be a nice equal reveal all the way along. Another tip, when installing doors, you might have a door that opens up into a wall or another cabinet. And so I'll show you how to keep that from happening if your hinge can't adjust for that. So these little clear bumpers protect your doors from smacking against the frame and hold them out at the proper distance from the cabinet. But also you can use them to keep the door from crashing into a wall. Take it with a nice sharp knife. You can cut one in half. Right there. Right on the edge. The other one up there. See? And now, when this is opened, stops before getting here. And you can adjust even that by having your hinges adjusted by coming out further. The further they come out, the more this door will open. The further they go in, the less this door will be able to open. If you have any ideas or tips or tricks, feel free to put them down in the comments. Hopefully this is helpful to those that might be hanging some cabinets.